Morning folks, you join us bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, or not so bushy-tailed. It was an early start this morning. We left home about 5:10 and it's now 7 o'clock and we're sitting in a queue of traffic waiting to get on the ferry. It's also August the 3rd, which is our wedding anniversary, so happy anniversary. So what a great way to start this year's European road trip, our anniversary, and our actual first big trip in a little camper van was our honeymoon after our wedding, so this is pretty special. But yeah, we're about to get on the ferry, we're hungry, we need some caffeine for sure. We've had no coffee yet, but we have got an epic trip planned this year. There's been a few changes along the way, but we've got some great experiences, we've got some awesome plans, and we're going to bring you along on all of them. But let's get on this ferry, let's get sorted out, let's get some breakfast and some caffeine, and then we'll tell you all about it. Get a bit of fresh air. So change of plan this year, we've actually travelled out on Brittany ferries, because when we came back from France on our last road trip, we were just blown away with the service, weren't we? It was amazing, and I've got to say it, 10 times better than any P&O ferry trip that we've done. It's a lot more expensive, but it's definitely worth paying the extra, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, we've just sat down and had some lunch. They've got this lovely salad bar, tasted incredible. I mean, to be fair, some of the food on the P&O ferry was pretty much inedible. So, plus, it's only a 1.5 hour drive from home to Plymouth to get the ferry, rather than 7-8 hours all the way to Dover. So I made my mind up after last year's trip. This is the only way we're travelling to France from now on, because I'm just blown away by the service. So we've literally got about an hour's sailing left, and then we'll be heading off the ferry. Note to self, drive on the other side of the road where we're in France. A very important thing to remember. And then on the way across France, we're going to hopefully find a campsite about 2-3 hours away. We're going to set up and we're going to sleep in the back of the new camper van. So not in the tent box, we're going to test out the new interior from the Ply guys. But yeah, hour and a half to go, then we'll be in France. Merci beaucoup. Thank you. That is it, we're off the ferry. Bonjour France, and never lets us down. The sun is shining, Liga, so let the road trip commence. Right, we have smashed out about 2 hours of driving so far, and the new van is a game changer. Cruise control, just so brilliant. I can relax when I'm driving, and we've got air conditioning that actually works. So in the old van we had nothing, and when it was warm, it used to get warm in that old Adventure, but yeah. It's just over 26 degrees here. We've made it into France, so that can only mean one thing. Time for an ice cream.
Oh yeah.
So I've got a double gold caramel billionaire. What have you got?
Double star chaser, chocolate caramel popcorn flavour.
Perfect. Ice cream time. So we're going to have these, then we'll get to the campsite. So that is the first day of driving done. So we've arrived at this beautiful campsite in Rennes. It was about 3 hours drive. Liga discovered it on the way over. We registered online, got here, and when we arrived at the entrance, you could just check in via a computer. There was a map there, it gives you all the details to find your pitch, and here we are plotted up. So we just got the van ready. We're going to actually be sleeping inside the van for the first time tonight to test out the new Ply Guys interior. I'm sure it's going to be fine and very comfortable, but we're going to do a bit differently this year, heading over to Chamonix. So we're going to break the trip up a bit so it's not one long crazy drive over. So like I said, we're stopping here just one night tonight, and then we're going to head on a bit further tomorrow, find another campsite. And actually this year we might not be heading straight to Chamonix. We could be going somewhere else because a really good, unique opportunity has come up, but I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. As for now, like I mentioned, it's our wedding anniversary, so Liga's not having any dried noodles tonight. The lady at the reception told us there's a nice restaurant a couple of minutes walk away, so we're going to lock the van down, we're going to head over and get a really nice meal, and then we'll come back and get a good night's sleep, a very much needed good night's sleep because we were up early this morning. But as for now, we'll see you guys in the morning. Well, that was a very successful first night inside the new camper. We both slept like babies. I mean, we were extremely tired, but the mattress is really comfortable. Having the side window open, we had a nice bit of airflow as well. And yeah, slept so good, really needed that. But now, the most important thing is to get this set back up as a sort of office studio space. We definitely need to find some coffee, maybe somewhere to have some breakfast, and then we got to get some work done. We need to edit some videos. But yeah, successful first night. So I jumped out of the van and started to break down the double bed setup, which is actually super simple to do because of the very functional Ply Guys interior we'd had installed into the new Adventure Bus 3.0. Once the bed was pushed back in, I remounted our adjustable table and got to setting up the laptop so that I could get back to work as soon as possible. And then it was on to the more important task of getting some caffeine in my system. So I grabbed out the twin hob, filled up the kettle and reached for a couple of handy coffee bags. Once we'd finished editing, it was time to check out from the campsite. So I wound up the electric cable, we took the thermal blinds off the windows in preparation for hitting the road again for the next part of this year's road trip. Okay, so we are back on the road, and that's after what can only be described as a very successful first night camping in France in the new Adventure Bus. The first thing, like I mentioned, it was very comfortable, Liga, wasn't it?
Very comfortable.
We got about 8.5, 9 hours sleep, which is awesome. I mean, we were very tired, so I'm sure that helped.
We needed it.
Yeah, so we got a really good night's sleep, but also then we quickly switched it back to a studio space and we got a good 3 hours of work done. So that can't be bad. So great to sleep in and super functional to work in. And you'll be glad to know we were putting in the finishing touches to Liga's CCC race video. Finally, I know it's been a long wait, but we want to get this video just right. It's looking really cool. It was great to look back on it. I think it brought all the emotion back of the day. But now we are back on the road, like I said. Liga's just found another campsite about 4.5 hours away. So that means we'll have clicked off a good 7 hours of driving of the trip so far. Like I mentioned, we might not be heading to Chamonix, so we're actually going to Switzerland. So the plans were initially to go to Morzine and we were going to do a race that we had done before, but we were going to up the distance. But then not long after entering, we got an awesome, very unique opportunity. So we're going to be heading to Switzerland first, spending a few days there, and then we're going to be getting back to that beautiful mountain town of Chamonix, which we can't wait to do. But we're going to have a great time in Switzerland in between. But let's get a big chunk of this drive done today, and we'll check out the new campsite. Okay, so a quick pit stop into the services. I don't think 4 custard creams for breakfast is going to suffice for the day. We needed something to eat. And what we tend to do when we're in France is pop into the services, grab a nice French baguette and some brie cheese. Unfortunately, we're late today and all the bread has gone. We've had to substitute it with these. I'm not sure how they'll be, but we have got the brie and I'm sure that will go down well in a minute. And also another beautiful day in France, so even hotter than yesterday. So it's saying 29 degrees outside, so pretty toasty. So obviously we're traveling across France again. We've got a scorching, beautiful blue sky day. So that can only mean one thing. Yep, we're going to crack out the sunblock because we've been testing out this Peloton roll-on sun cream, and the last thing we want to do is get sunburnt and ruin this trip. So let's get this sunscreen on, eat our baguettes, and then we're going to head to the campsite. The rolls crammed full of brie actually went down really well, but if I'm honest, fresh baguettes would have been better. But we soon pulled off the toll roads onto some more picturesque country roads, and just like that, we had arrived at a very small and secluded campsite. So we pulled into our pitch for the night, I grabbed out the stove again and rustled up some pasta for dinner before we turned out the lights and got ourselves a well-earned night's sleep. Morning folks, it is day 3 of the road trip and we found ourselves in this nice, very quiet little campsite tucked away in Aculé. We've actually travelled 651 miles so far on the trip and we got another great night's sleep in the back of the new adventure bus. It's a thumbs up from us, really comfortable. It's a bit chillier this morning. I've got the hoodie on, which is actually quite nice because it was very warm yesterday, so it's nice to have some cooler temperatures. But we've got another quite long day of driving today, so it's going to be 4.5, 5 hours until we get to Switzerland. So we're going to make an early start, pick up some breakfast on the way, but then we're going to have a couple of days at a lovely campsite by a lake that League has discovered. Hopefully, if that's got any spaces for us. But let's pack the bed down, get the van all sorted up, and then we're going to get trucking. With everything packed away and secured down, we were ready to leave the campsite nice and early like we wanted, because we really wanted to arrive at the next stopover as early as possible, and we still had a relatively long drive ahead of us. So we successfully navigated the quieter country roads and we were soon back on the quicker toll roads, but we thought it was about time we pulled over for that very much needed caffeine hit and a bite to eat. Well, we're making good time and the roads are definitely starting to look a lot more mountain-like now, which is always great to see. But we got to say it, the French drivers are a little bit bonkers, especially the guys on the motorbikes. They're mad, they're cutting and weaving in and out of the traffic. We were overtaking a lorry earlier and one cut straight down the middle on the inside. Not the safest bit of motorbike riding I've ever seen, but I know we said it before, but it's so good to have the adventure bus, the new 3.0 bus. Cruise control is wicked. You know, we tend to travel on the toll roads when we come over just because, you know, there's less traffic and it's much quicker to get to where we want to get. And I've just flicked it into cruise control, 65 miles an hour, and just relaxed. It was a lot more stressful in the old bus. And what do you reckon about air conditioning, Liga?
It's so good. Kind of nice not to be, you know, soaked from all this sweat.
We had a day yesterday, it was 30 degrees and we kept forgetting how hot it was because we were in here just chilling out. We'd stop and get fuel or something to eat, open the door and get hit by this heat wave. So aircon is a winner. I know it's not a modern thing, but you know, in our old bus we had it, it just didn't work right. But like I said, we're making good time. The sat nav says 2 hours 37 minutes. The campsite is all booked in. Great job, Liga.
Cheers.
Awesome at finding stuff. I just sit here and drive and Liga sorts all that stuff out. So we got a beautiful campsite in Switzerland. Can't wait to get there, have a shower, have a look around. It should be mega. But yeah, trip's going well so far. The toll roads continue to be fast flowing and trouble free, and we were making good time. But for a section of today's trip, we'd be spending a few more miles on some smaller French roads, which actually made a really nice change, and we got to see some lovely views along the way.
You could tell we were getting ever closer to Switzerland as we pulled up behind a rather nice orange McLaren sports car with Swiss plates, but not long after that, we were making our way across the border into Switzerland.
Yep, we made it, we're in Switzerland. Woo! High five. And it is looking epic. We've already seen some stunning mountain roads, so it's going well. Just like that, that's base camp set up. Okay, so you join me in the Run4Adventure kitchen station, and I am going to be cooking up a storm tonight. So we've got some of Liga's favourite pasta pappardelle, super tasty. We've also got the finest basilico sauce from the campsite shop, and we've got some grated parmesan cheese. We're in a bit of a hurry because, believe it or not, at the campsite we're staying at, they've got a live circus tonight and it's free to go and watch. So we're going to get cooking, we're going to get eating, and then we're going to get onto the circus. Day 3 over with of this year's European road trip. You can see I am sitting on the edge of the tent box, so Liga's already inside. We're going to be sleeping upstairs in the tree house tonight. Incredible to be staying at a campsite where we get to watch a circus for our evening entertainment, and it was brilliant. But I'm climbing inside, we're going to get cozy. I think we might watch a bit of Netflix on the tablet, and we'll see you early in the morning. Oh. Well, we learnt one thing last night. The wind picked up towards the morning, and when we got the awning up and we're in the tent box, it can get a bit blustery and a bit noisy. So note to self, if it's windy, I think the best thing to do is to leave the tent box down, or at least leave the awning off the back, or maybe even sleep in the back of the van. Now, don't get me wrong, it was still super cozy, wasn't it? It was just the right temperature in the tent box, so we were snuggled in our sleeping bags. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold, and it was only first thing this morning that the wind picked up, and it wasn't too bad, you know, it wasn't going to keep us awake all night. But this is a learning curve. This is our first big trip in the new adventure bus, so we're picking things up as we go. But what day are we on now? Day 4? No. Yeah, we're losing track of the days. I think it's day 4. We got a busy day today, so we're going to head off, we're going to grab a coffee, and then it's going to be pretty much all day sitting in front of the laptop trying to get videos finished. So yeah, not going to be much content coming today. We're going to be hard at it editing in front of the laptop. Okay, so you joined me out here on a run. I thought, you know, while in Switzerland we might as well get a testing run in. So I'm actually running in the 005 from Norda. Unfortunately, not knowing the trails around here, I used the Strava app to come up with a route, put in I'd like predominantly trails, but you can see I'm on the tarmac and I'm going up this really steep big hill. So it's good training in the legs for Chamonix, but let's get back on the trails. Okay, we are back in the campsite. That is the first run done in the Norda 005. Shoe performed well. but I've definitely lost some fitness, and that was a tough run. A lot of elevation, more than I was expecting. So time to get a nice shower. It's been pretty warm out there. Then we're going to grab some dinner, but it's good to be back running. Okay, it is day 5 of our Euro trip so far. Is that right, Liga? I've completely lost track of days.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, we think it's day 5 anyway. So we've left the beautiful Swiss campsite. We had a great time there. It was nice to stop for a couple of days so that we could set up camp properly, get the awning out, and, you know, I say relax, we were working pretty hard. Liga spent most of the day on the laptop editing her CCC race video, which is getting ever closer. But beautiful campsite by the lake, you know, had some great facilities, really beautiful place to stop. We had some nice walks by the lake. We got to watch the circus, which was really cool. And now we are heading to our next stop before we get to Chamonix. So we're still in Switzerland, and we're actually going to be going to Scott Running's HQ. We're going to get a behind the scenes tour, and we're also going to get to try out their new shoes that they've been working really hard on behind the scenes that they're releasing next year. Unfortunately, it's all under embargo, so we can't show you anything at the moment, and I think that video will probably come later in the year. So what I'll try and do right now is drop in some nice B-roll of things that I can film of our time at Scott Running, and then we'll get back on the road and we'll get to that beautiful campsite in Chamonix.
Let's do this.
Go on, fella.
The climb starts now.
Go on.
Game on. See you.
See you at the top. What a way to get around to a finish line in a race. This is the way to travel. Awesome. So there you have it, guys. That is our Scott experience. I hope you enjoyed that little bit of B-roll, but you join me back in the adventure bus, and guess what? Yep, we are heading to the campsite in Chamonix. So we are both super excited. We've had an incredible 3 days, that is for sure. Scott Running put on an amazing experience and really spoiled us. But Chamonix bound, here we come. Let's get to that campsite.
It's always a stunning drive with some epic valley views as you head over to Chamonix from Martigny in Switzerland, but it wasn't long before we spotted the snowy white summit of Mont Blanc in all its glory, and that meant that we were back in the French mountain town that we love so much, and the campsite was just around the corner.
Okay, we have made it to the last destination of our road trip, to the campsite we know so well in the beautiful Chamonix Valley. We've got epic mountain views behind the camera, and what a great road trip it's been, traveling through France and then heading to Switzerland. What an incredible experience it was at Scott Running HQ. There'll be more to come on that on the channel very soon, but like I said, we've made it to Chamonix. The sun is shining, it's blistering hot. It is 33 degrees, so that can mean only one thing. Yep, it is Orangina o'clock. Okay, that's enough of the silly dancing. I was getting some pretty odd looks in the campsite, but I don't know what it is. It just tastes so much better when we're in France. But
There we are. I hope you've enjoyed the road trip video, following it as we head across France to Switzerland and then back into France to Chamonix. If you have, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel. We're going to have lots of epic mountain content here in the Chamonix Valley, so make sure you hit that bell icon so you'll be notified when we upload any new content. But for now, I'm going to drink my Orangina. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe and keep on running. Here comes the tractor. Well, I have to choose.
What, on one arm? Oh, you're still filming? You don't get that.